Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Elena and this is my Wonderland with my crazy red healer. Severus, say hi. Look. Say hi. Okay, well you kind of saw him, but we are going to film our JAN-uary book tag. So come along with me and answer those questions and see how it all goes. Alright, so I have my book journal right here with me because it was easier to write all the questions down so that way I could answer them better. And I'm filming on my iPad so that way if I need to look at my Goodreads or StoryGraph on my phone, I can. But every January for the last, I think she said 3 years, Jan has been doing a January book tag. And today's the 30th, which means there's only 2 days left in January, and you're seeing this super late, but there's no better time than now, right? So, hi Jan, if you're watching this, I love you, and I love your videos, and I want to meet in person so bad, and I can't wait. One day we will. One day we will. We'll make it happen. So our first question is going to be, what was the last and first book you read last year? The very first book I read in 2023 was The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. Loved it, but hated it. I hope that makes sense. So I had to really remind myself to separate myself from the TV show A Haunting of Hill House because of the fact that this book came out way before the movie did, of course. The movie? No, the TV show. My bad, y'all. But I had to remind myself this because I kept expecting more scary. And this book is definitely not really scary, but more so eerie and gothic and also very classic literature. And if you are like me and don't read classic books, it's very slow. So I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't fantastic, but it was good enough for me to want to recommend to people with an acquired taste. So that was the first book. The last book I read in 2022. 2022? Y'all, I can't even think straight. 2023. I honestly can't remember. I want to say it was Ashes and Starker's King, which I have right here on my bookshelf right behind the beautiful edition of the traditionally published Serpents. But also, I have my little shirt, Little Serpent, and it is exactly for that book series, Ryan. But some people say Rain. Some people say Ryan. Carissa, you let me know. Do a little video or whatever. Interview and let us all know what their names actually sound like, please. Moving on to question number 2. What is your first read this year? I read The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. I honestly adored this poetry book. It was so beautifully written. It is covering grief, parental immigrants. It covers life as a woman. It covers breakups, heartbreak, growing, healing. I loved it. It was fantastic. Hi, Severus. Number 3, share 3 of your reading goals for this year. So I'm glad on my journal. Hi, Bubs. So we have, let's open it up to my reading goals. 1 I can tell you automatically is to read more books that I own. Why? Because I have over 160 books here that I have not read. So let's just discuss the fact that we like a library in our house, okay? We love to have a library. Whether or not I read the books that I own in my library doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So that's goal number 1, okay? Another goal is to at least read 2 books a month by a BIPOC author. I don't read a lot of books in 1 month, so minimum my goal is to read at least 2 books by a BIPOC author. And then finish at least 1 series. I want to finish at least 1 series this year because of the fact that almost all the books I own are at least in a series. So she's a series girly. Number 4, share 3 of your most anticipated reads. What if I don't really have any? I will say the most anticipated reads I have on my bookshelf. I can do that. So one you see right here, which is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. It's basically a Mulan retelling, but make it trans, and her brother dies and she becomes him. Sounds amazing. Another book, oh yeah, right here, will be One Dark Window, because everybody talks about this. I'm so excited, and I'm gonna buddy read it next month with my friend Jasmine. So if you're here, hi. And then one more that I'm really looking forward to, I will say this book, honestly. Oh, this cover is so good. This cover is stunning. So this is The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. This is a queer horror YA book, I believe. And there is body horror. There is a little bit of transphobic things in here. Also, Andrew Joseph White signed it. So really, really, really hope that I like the book, because sometimes I buy a book by an author that's signed and it's the first book that I've ever read by them, and then I don't like it. So here's hoping that I love this book. I've heard nothing but good things about it. And literally this is what pulled me in directly. London, 1883. The veil between the living and the dead has thinned. Violet-eyed mediums commune with spirits under the watchful eye of the Royal Speakers Society, and 16-year-old Silas Bell would rather rip out his violet eyes than become an obedient speaker wife. Sounds amazing. So that is my other most anticipated read for 2024. All right, number 5. Which goals did you reach or not reach last year? I reached my reading goal, which I think was 45. I read 48 books. What did I also do? I completed 1 series. Actually, I completed 2 series, so that counts. And then what did I not reach? Actually, one moment. Back with my reading journal from 2023. This is a B6 size. It's so small and cute. I love it. But so we did read 45 books. We read 48, so that was accomplished. I finished 2 series. I did read 1 classic, which is The Haunting of Hill House. I'm proud of myself. I did read 3 memoirs. I will say one goal that I didn't fully reach. This card keeps trying to fall out. I wrote in here to use this journal. Okay, I did use this journal, right? I did. So there's a bunch of stuff in there, but I stopped using it around August, and then I tried to pick it back up in October and failed miserably. So I will say no, we didn't really achieve that goal because I just quit halfway through the year almost. Next up is going to be, are there any new releases this year you've heard of that you have no desire of reading? Honestly, I have not really been paying attention as much this year. I didn't do a anticipated releases page in this journal, which I did last year, and that's how I ended up spending way too much money. So I wouldn't say all of them, because there is some that I've been seeing circulating around. I'm not like super hyped about Crescent City House of Flame and Shadow. That's what I'll say, because right now it's today's release date and like everybody's obsessed with it right now, and I'm just not like super, like I'm not gonna go out of my way to buy it right now. No. So I guess that would be one of them. And then next question is going to be, what are some reading habits you want to change this year, if any? Honestly, having too much like pressure when it comes to reaching a reading goal, as far as like how many books to read in a year. I set my goal for 52, but honestly, I just set it that because of the fact that I've been so ingrained on setting a reading goal in Goodreads and StoryGraph for the last 3 years that, I guess 4 years now, this is the 4th year I'm doing it, that is second nature, but I don't want to do that anymore. I'd rather just read whenever I feel like it, whatever I feel like reading, and enjoy the time instead of being like, oh my gosh, if I don't read this many books a year, I'm a failure. Because sometimes that's how my brain works. And I think that I'm not good enough because I couldn't attain this like number that I decided to pick out of nowhere. Like, it shouldn't be that important to me the way that it is. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Number 8, are there any adaptations you're excited about? Percy Jackson. I'm watching Percy Jackson actively as they come out, the episodes. But I loved the Percy Jackson series in high school. It was something that I just like devoured like I did with Twilight. And I have been thoroughly enjoying the TV adaptation over the movies, because the movies sucked so bad. Even Rick Riordan hated the movies. So I'm glad that he gets to fully like have input, get to watch filming and everything like that. I can definitely see his actual involvement in the show. So that's definitely top tier. I will say I went and watched the movie Poor Things. I did hear right before I watched it that was a book. Watched it, and like I thought about that movie for literally a week after I watched it, and now I want to read the book. So if that counts, cool. 9, favorite bookish memory of last year. I went to my first author event, which was Arf Kwong for Yellowface, and I got to meet my first friend from Bookstagram in person. Like, this was my first meeting event ever, and her name is Jean. I love Jean to pieces. She has now moved and is in Washington State, which is so far from me. Literally, I'm on the East Coast in Massachusetts, and she's in Washington State on the West Coast. So the furthest apart as he could be. But that has to be my top memory, was getting to meet Jean, and also at an author event where we got a signed book. We got to see Arf Kwong talk. Like, that was just such a really cool event and experience. I hope I can meet more friends this year. It would be so cool and really awesome. So that's my goal this year, is to use my job as a flight attendant to be able to go meet friends in person. The last question, any carryovers from last year that you still plan on finishing? Yes. So one of the books I plan on finishing is gonna be Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I will say though, I've heard some really sketchy things about this author, and I don't really know how to feel. So I'm planning on buddy reading this next month with my friend C. And honestly, so I am, let's see what page that is. I'm on page 56, not very far into the book. And I will say that the very first chapter Okay, first off, why are there footnotes in this book? That's stupid. And I hate them. I hate the footnotes. I don't care about them. I'm not going to read all of them, no. Unless I feel like this is something interesting and really actually pertains to the story and I'm going to miss out on something, I'm not reading the book. I'm not reading those fucking footnotes. No. Goodbye. Goodbye. But Jay Kristoff supposedly likes to fetishize Asian culture, specifically women. So I don't know how to feel about that. Misogynistic. A little. So I can see from chapter 1 that that may be a reoccurring theme, and if that's the case, I am planning a reading vlog for this. It will probably have spoilers in it, but honestly it'll be at the end where you can just like skip over it in case you want to read the book. But this is one of the books I plan on reading this year. That's a carryover. I also have, it's up at the very top and I don't feel like getting it down, but it's What My Bones Know by Stephanie Fu. It is about complex PTSD and her experience through her diagnosis and finding out that she has complex PTSD. It is nonfiction, it is a memoir, and so far it's been like really cathartic but also hard to read. So I had to take a break and I was also annotating it, so it makes more sense like why it was a little bit harder for me because of annotating and like super triggering events that I can relate to on a certain level. I plan on finishing that. And what else? I feel like there's more, but honestly I can't like, I think I wrote them down actually in the in my other journal. Let's see really quickly. Severus stop. Oh yeah, started, not finished yet. So, oh, I already finished that. All Boys Aren't Blue. Maybe that was the last book I read last year. Maybe. Bum bum bum. No, that's it. That's all of them. Because the other one is a St. Martin's Press book, and it's an ARC, and I'm not going to review it because of the protests right now. So, that's all I have. I really thought this was fun and exciting because, like, it's a get to know you and your history with reading. So thank you, Jan, so much for making this little challenge. And I hope you watched it and loved it. And yes, so for anybody who wants to do this, I'll put the questions in the description below if you'd like to follow me over on Instagram. My link is also in the bio as well, or my username will be in the bio as well. And I hope you all have a great morning, night, day. I don't know what time it is by you, so whatever it is for you, I hope you have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!